Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Brian. Hope you're doing well today. It's Thursday, the 8th of October, here for just a really quick run through on our numbers, kind of some potential trade opportunities, and then I'll let you guys get on with your day. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Starting the day off, always check out our news to see what's happening, see if there's anything that we need to take note of or we should be out of the market for. And really, ultimately, for the most part, it's clear sailing. We do have some high-impact CAD news coming up. That could potentially impact obviously the CAD, but also the pound and maybe the USD, depending on how drastic it is. At the same time that that's occurring, we also have unemployment claims, which could certainly be a catalyst in the marketplace, especially if they come in higher than forecast. So we'll see what's happened there. I kind of think that may drop, mainly because people are starting to excuse me, people are getting to a point where they're aging off unemployment, so there just aren't simply new claims being made. So it's one of those catch-22s. They can't claim it, so the numbers drop, which looks good, but in reality it's not good. So I don't know, we'll see. Ultimately it doesn't matter. I mean, that's speculation, and whatever happens. It doesn't really matter. All we need to do is know if news is coming up so that we can choose to be in the market or not be in the market. And also that's really it. We just need to know whether to be in the market or not be in the market. That's it. That's the only reason we look at news. I mean, I think we obviously we're all have a vested interest in what is happening, and we want to know what the outcome is. But that shouldn't base our trading decisions. Our trading decisions should be based on what the market's doing, right? So what is the market doing? Let's check that out. Let's see what's going on over here. Let's start in forex land, because the U.S. foreign exchange session just started. So coming into the session, the pound's been the biggest mover here. Pound's been moving to weakness against our other currencies, and what do we have to really choose from here? Pound potentially against the CAD, against the US, maybe even the yen, but CAD and the US are the two that are going to be most active coming into the day. We know we have CAD news coming up in 30 minutes, so that may not be good for us. We've also got medium impact US news coming up in 30 minutes. So I think for the Forex side of things, let's just hang back. We won't make any decisions until after that 30-minute mark and we have the news behind us. What would we be looking at that point? Well, same thing we're looking at now. We'd be watching to see which currencies are actually moving, which are being heavily bought, which are being heavily sold, and then we pair them together. And obviously we're going to check to see what our ranges are at that point. There's the pound versus the USD. I mean, that's moved 80 pips. Its average is about 130. So there's opportunity there to do a breakout, get a quick 20 pips or so on a move. Pound versus the CAD. It's moved 109 pips for the day. Its average is about 130 to 140. Still, opportunity there. Euro versus the CAD. If the euro continues to push weaker, euro versus the USD, euro versus the CAD, you're looking at movement right now, 50 pips on an average of about 80. Over here, euro versus the USD, 30 on 70. So some opportunity there as the session gets going, but I think that opportunity happens post news. So let's let news do its thing and then see what's actually moving and what we can pair together, and then make a decision at that point by pairing a strong currency with a weak currency. The things you'll want to watch, obviously, divergence over here, to see how things are actually moving, or what currencies are actually moving in the direction that they're moving. So we want to see divergence, but then we also want to just double check and make sure that we've got a trend that's occurring, that we can move in the direction of that current trend, and then make sure that our volume detail supports the direction that we're looking to trade. And that's really it. There's not a whole lot more to it. Switching over to futures market, big rip yesterday, made up all and more of what occurred on Tuesday with that end of the day tweet. which, kind of alluded to, the tweets, things like that. It's an emotional, when you've got a big reaction to something like that, it's sheer emotion, and reality is nothing changed. Nothing that has been driving the market changed. I think if things just totally broke down and there wasn't going to be any kind of a relief package, or anything to help stimulate the economy, and it was just gone, that's different. That's a fact, right? But right now it's just political posturing, and really nothing has changed. There's the market's been rallying on the hopes of things occurring, and those things are still out there in the future, and the market continues to react positively to it. Now, this morning, post-debate, we had the debate last night, post-debate, we've kind of been hanging here in a little bit of a channel, but it is continuing to move north on us. The 4-hour bias is long, as we can see here. We've got a long bias on the 4-hour. The 30-minute bias is long as well. So that's telling us we continue to look for long trading opportunities. What does the long trading opportunity look like? Well, pull back to 3,400. The open was 3,407 here. Pull back down to 3,400. This could certainly be an opportunity for us to look to get in on a retest of a big whole number. So that's one. Or breakouts, and looking at breaks of this top up here, which would be what is that? So around 34.30, breaks of 34.30 to continue north. There's a little bit left. The next point of resistance up here is 34.45, and we'd have to go way back in time to see, where that occurred. Not too far back. Beginning of September, 34.40 to 34.45 was an area here that's been tested and retested. So, looking right now, if we break higher, that 34.40 to 34.45 could potentially be a resistance point up here for us if it does continue to move higher. If it starts breaking down and it breaks back below 3,400, even if we're in a long style position, if it breaks below 3,400 and closes, especially if it gets down to 33.80, that's when, even if this hasn't crossed, you might just say, hey, I'm going to ride the sidelines for the day. So that's what you're looking for. I didn't have any trades to talk about yesterday that met our criteria. We did have, this pretty much just took off at the beginning of the day and just kept moving. And it did pull back, but this entry over here was after the time that I'm watching the market. So for those that were in maybe later into the afternoon, you might have been able to take advantage of this pullback here where we made lower highs and lower lows and then eventually broke back out, continued north. But this did not meet my criteria for the day. So I didn't have anything to talk about for yesterday as far as recaps of trades or anything that met our trading criteria there. So that's the other method we can watch here as well is, as the market opens and gets under regular trading hours, as we begin, or if we begin to pull back and make lower highs and lower lows, we can look for entries on the breaks of the previously closed lower highs. Now, again, the caveat there being, if we break below 3,400 and close down below here, especially if we're approaching 33.80, even if these haven't crossed yet, I'd be cautious about looking for pullbacks. That might be a signal that the market's rolling over on us, all right? Crude is in a long bias, so the 4-hour bias is long, 30-minute bias is long. We talked yesterday about 40.50 being a pretty solid top up here that's been tested and retested. We've broken it again. So looking for long opportunities would be pullbacks down to 40, maybe 40.15 area down here, 40.10. So 40.10 to 40 would kind of be our area to look at pullbacks to play a bounce back in the long position. If it breaks down below 40, and especially if it gets down here to 39.75, 39.50, that would be, even if this hasn't crossed yet, the time to back off and say, hey, I'm going to stop looking at longs because this may be ready to roll over. So take that with caution. Looking at bounces over here, or simply the pullback method, which is waiting to see if this makes lower highs and lower lows, lower highs and lower lows, and then entering on a break back to the long side if it breaks out above that previously closed lower high. You know, if it doesn't, it just keeps moving though. If this, you know, especially if the S&P starts to sell off, I think it'll pull crude down with it. But we'll see what happens there. Obviously, right now we are in a long bias, and with that long bias, we'd be looking to get into the long positions. So again, a bounce would be 40 to 40-10-ish area would be your pullback and a bounce. But do be careful. If it does break down and it gets down here, like I said before, that might be the signal that things are going to start to roll over and stop looking at long trades. I'm not saying to go short from there. Just stop looking at your long trades and let the market kind of work out what it's going to do. Gold is in a short bias on the 4-hour. It's kind of at a decision point here on the 30-minute. It's hovering right at kind of a key level on the 30-minute, right below 1900, which is a key level on the 4-hour. So gold is a mixed bias, you know, kind of right now, and this will, especially as we get into the next hour, this moving average will close above, and then will be a approved mixed bias on gold. The thing to watch here would be 1900. If we break above 1900, there's a good chance that we'll start to see this start to push long again. But the biases are mixed, and really, ultimately, we wouldn't want to do anything until we get that confirmation of a directional bias on gold. All right, so that's where we are. That's everything for the market. If we have some trades that are, you know, meeting the criteria, which is just simply that very, very, very basic, simple method, which is the pullback method, waiting for price to make, if we're in a long position, to make lower highs and lower lows, and enter on a breakout back in the direction of that current trend, the current bias, then I'll talk about those in a recap. If we don't have any of those, then I won't do it. All right, so that's it. What else is coming up that we should be aware of? I think, let me just double check over here. We've got, don't forget Monday. Monday is a bank holiday. We'll recap it tomorrow as well, but Monday is a bank holiday here in the US and in Canada, so there won't be any trading on Monday. So just a quick advance update on that. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna leave it here. You guys have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye.